Oh, this video is going to be a fun one. Let's talk about the excuses I used to make when I wasn't losing weight. So hi, my name's Bobby and my goal is to simplify the world of fitness and give you a better understanding when it comes to your training and your nutrition. So my first mistakes, and you will laugh at this, and I now laugh at this looking back, was I used to think heavier foods will make me put on more weight than lighter foods. I know. Mind blown, isn't it? But I used to think that having a handful of peanuts, say, is not going to make me put on as much weight as, say, having a big heavy salad. And I know obviously now it's all about calories and energy density, but that used to be my thinking back in the day. So when I used to have non-training days, and bearing in mind I was a professional footballer and we used to get weighed quite a lot to make sure we don't sort of go fat, I used to eat nothing but light foods, but very energy dense food, and my weight used to skyrocket, my body fat used to go up, and I used to think, what is going on? Why am I putting on so much weight? And now obviously it all makes sense. But yeah, that was one of the biggest mistakes I've made. Now here's the second excuse. I went full on carnivore for 2 years, and that was still when I was playing football professionally. I cut carbs completely, and you know where this is going. I used to think carbs make me fat. I used to be so anti-carbs, you will not believe it. I went carnivore for that reason and that reason alone. I lost weight purely because I was in a caloric deficit. And not only was I carnivore, I was also doing 1 meal a day. Bearing in mind I was playing football at the time professionally, and I'd ate nothing for the whole day and only would eat one meal of around 2,200 calories per day. Don't get me wrong, I lost a load of weight, but in my head it was because I've cut the carbs out. And then I stopped playing football and I carried on being a carnivore and my weight went straight back up. I just thought, how am I putting on weight? And I used to get really confused when I was like, oh, I'm not eating carbs anyway and I'm not spiking my insulin and all this. Now, obviously, I have a much better understanding, but yeah, that was one of the excuses I had. Carbs make you fat. Now, as I mentioned, I was a professional footballer, and the next excuse I used to make is, I'll just run it off. No big deal. I'll just go and run it off. I'm going to go on the pitch and I'm going to do a couple of laps, 2, 3 laps, whatever, and I'm just going to run it all off. Because for whatever reason, I thought that none of the laws of physics apply to me and I can just eat whatever I want. And I was quite bad with that because when I had a bad game, I used to very much go to food. It was a thing that kind of kept me sane, if that makes sense. It used to be really something for me, was comfort eating. And obviously, if you go over your calories, you're going to put on weight. It doesn't matter how much exercise you do. And I've saved you the best for last. And I'm sure you've all heard this one before. But I used to believe in starvation mode. I used to say to myself, because I'm not eating anything, my weight's just being stored and I'm in starvation mode and my body's just preserving everything. No, it's not. I just wasn't tracking my calories and I didn't understand the concept of energy balance. Starvation mode doesn't exist. Yes, your metabolism slows down and it's particularly bad if you haven't got a lot of lean muscle mass, which I didn't have, believe it or not. So my calories would have been quite low anyway because I was a goalkeeper, so I wasn't moving throughout the day anyway. But it was just one of those, I used to think, do you know what? I'm in starvation mode and I'm putting all this body fat on because of that. So if you think you are in starvation mode, your calories aren't right, or you're not tracking accurately. Those are generally the two things, the key takeaways of that is if you think you're in something called starvation mode, you're most likely not, you're just eating too much food. If you obviously have health issues, that's a completely separate thing. That's something I cannot help with, but just maybe track more accurately. Be careful with things like oils and your coffees and things like that. Are you adding milk unnecessarily? Are you adding too much cooking oil to your food? And all those types of things. So just be very mindful with that. But yeah, I hope that video has made you laugh. It's made me laugh writing it because now obviously I have a much better understanding. But at the time, those are the things that I used to think about. And if you're interested in finding out how to sort your calories out and how to get your macros calculated correctly, go and watch this video over here. But other than that, thanks very much for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.